Jesus
Ooh.
Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably neck and neck.
We couldn't even like when
It is
I
bad.
saw that somewhere, I was like, "Oh my god!" And I so of course I picked up a can of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even
Right.
think I could get a can. It was like a 4-pack, and I took it to my friend's house,
Oh, they
and
got
like
you.
we couldn't even handle shots of it. It was too nasty.
They
It's
got
like
But
you.
then I had like
They knew what they were doing.
3 Bud Light Clamatos hanging out in my
Right.
refrigerator
And
forever.
people always talk about how horrible the Clamato thing is, but I've never followed it to its logical. I'm just gonna blindly guess before I look it up or anything that somebody had a restaurant where they served a shitload of fried clams, and then they just started making this as a drink because they had too much clam juice. That's the only possible real explanation, right?
No, this
And
is,
then like
I assumed it was
Or-
like a base for Manhattan clam chowder.
Tours from
okay.
It's tours from the PR department. They saw Mexican
Yeah.
drinks and said, "Hey, Mexicans drink Bud Light. Let's make a Mexican styled."
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
no,
definitely why they did
I
that.
think he means original Clamato.
Yeah, that's definitely
Oh.
why they did the Bud Light
Oh,
for sure
okay.
though. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
when they did that Bud Light Lime, like when it very first came out, it had like fucking Speedy Gonzalez on it. Like the packaging was racist as shit. Like I can't remember what kind of.
Wait,
I can't
but have you
remember-
ever seen? You want to talk about racist characters? Have you ever seen the actual like little Go cups that they sell for like mixing micheladas in?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's like you buy a styrofoam cup with like random seasonings in it, but that's got like, guys in sombreros snoozing against cacti. It's
Oh god.
pretty ridiculous.
It's supposed to look like like a
Speedy
sleepy
Gonzalez all
Mexican.
over again.
Your classic sleepy Mexican.
Yeah.
Like
Always having those damn siestas.
I really thought like that I would
You're
be
just
like,
overworked.
like I really thought I was going to be able to be based about it for the rest of my life because I love the Sleepy Mouse and the Speedy Gonzalez cartoons so much.
Slowpoke
And
Rodriguez.
I used to love to talk like the Sleepy Mouse and the Speedy Gonzalez cartoons, and I just thought I'll just be able to remain based about this one thing. But no, I finally got to where I just didn't want to do it anymore. You know?
Yeah.
You got to follow your instincts on these things. That's been a long time ago now, and I'm not sad that I don't ever do the Sleepy Mouse voice anymore. You know, I don't miss that. You know,
What's that voice?
it's the Sleepy Mouse. It's not Speedy, who has like a heroic, like bullfighter kind of.
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the
But
voice?
it's such a.
Antonio. He was.
That's what I'm saying.
Refresh
Is
my memory.
that's what I'm saying. Is I don't feel like doing the voice anymore. But like
it's he's got like a very very racist Mexican, and then you just slow it down and make him go like super slow and everything,
So
like turtles.
But I just.
Silly. Okay. All right. All right.
They're not taking the bait, Dan.
I can't hear it in my head. Can you just do it for like a second?
I don't want to do that.
Nah,
I
I
don't
don't
want
think I
to
can
do
do
that.
that for
Can you? Okay, let's make it less racist then. Can you do the voice and say this is a really racist voice and it's wrong?
And I'm doing a land
You gotta give me an
acknowledgement.
N-word. You gotta give me an N-word.
You're gonna take that as an opportunity to say the N-word and get the stream shut down.
Just immediately.
You feel that just doing the voice and condemning it, but just so I get an understanding of what you're talking about, sufficiently warrants you to shut down the thing with the word that none of us are allowed to say on stream, but only one of us has the right to claim the ability to say. You think that's like a fair thing that you proposed?
At 10:15 and 45 seconds p.m.
I think it's fantastic. Just beautiful.
Okay, well, all right, we're gonna move on from that. You guys heard Feinstein died, right?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, they finally let her reanimated corpse cease.
I mean, like everybody, obviously is pissing all over her because she sucked, but like I kept waiting for like at least one like credulous lib airhead that was like defending her or whatever. I kept waiting for at least one of them to say the worst, most horrible shit about it was that, that having to, you guys are going after somebody that worked on the day she died. Like, that's the suckiest shit ever. Like, how dare you not have sympathy for somebody who clocked out and then went off and died instead of retired?
She deserved it.
You know what her last words were
Right.
in the Senate, right?
Yeah.
You
No,
know
what
what they
were they?
were? She was like, "No, this is terrible. I feel really bad. Can I go home, Nancy Pelosi? Can I go home?
But yeah,
I'm
you
in
have to start
pain,
out.
Senorita Pelosi."
You're actually dead on.
You have to. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you have to start out. You have to start out with a super reedy Speedy. Like, you have to start out with like,
Speedy.
yeah, that's
Oh,
how
Speedy
you get
Pelosi,
there.
I don't feel so good no more.
Too fast. You gotta
That's
slow it down.
I don't
always how I used
feel
to do it.
so good no more. How's
There
that?
you go.
And
That's how Diane Feinstein
That's-
talked on her last day.
that's why I loved it so much, though. That specific vocal performance. Before I
From
decided
Diane
that I
Feinstein.
wasn't going to do it anymore.
From Diane
Yes,
Feinstein.
that's why
It's okay.
I
You know,
loved it
you know
so
what?
much.
Here's the thing. You don't have to loop back. The thing is, I walked into the bit. I already nailed it. We can just move on to the next bit. It's okay. You don't have to bring it back. It's more funny to talk about the dead ghoul woman anyway. Don't worry. Don't feel compelled to be like, oh, I got to comment more on that. You don't. This isn't a yes and thing. This is Dan was setting us up to try to provoke us, and then he walked us into it. I got you on that. You tip your hat. You'd be done.
I agree.
Bad boy. Bad Dan.
It is very funny. It's funny now already, but it's only going to get funnier in the weeks to come as you find out the specific details of it, which are basically going to illustrate, just horrific callousness on the part of like all of her friends and coworkers and family members who just rolled this woman all the way to the grave, just taking advantage of her. Like, it's only going to get funnier as more and more of that comes out, and like basically no hardcore liberal Democrat at any point says that it was wrong to do that to her. Like,
yeah, they
it was good and
they hooked her up to a shiny suit, a shiny inflatable suit to try to like preserve her a little bit, like Baron Harkonnen, or like Puff Daddy.
They gave her the spice so she could go in there yesterday and vote for whatever stupid, inconsequential shit they voted for yesterday.
Yeah, the spice melange, yeah.
Yeah, they made her take the spice.
Gotta
to
make
go.
sure she votes yay on like renaming a post office.
Yeah.
I saw what it was. It was so fucking stupid.
I
can't.
Post office, really?
Can you imagine? Can you just imagine
so
being like Diane Feinstein, and every time Nancy Corinne Prouda walks in the room, you just hear, "Oh, death." Like, you just see her, and that's the last woman you're gonna see while you're alive. Not your kids, not your family. You're gonna see Nancy Pelosi's ghoul daughter lurching over you, barking orders at you. That's it.
It was
That's how you
called.
die. Like, imagine if you had to die like that. Like, the point is this, right? If capitalists are willing to do that to one of their own, they really don't fucking love you.
So basically, she was living in whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was in a particular type of hell. Oh man, do we have the 5? We have the Power 5 tonight? Fucking A.
We do.
Pew pew pew.
All 5
That
mics.
was her with the ice cream cache. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Everybody was dying, and she was like, "Here's my ice cream. I've got so much."
Yeah,
this shit that she had to go vote for. This shit she had to go in there and vote yay on the last day of her life was called the fucking Securing Growth and Robust Leadership in American Aviation Act.
Should have named that the John McCain was a good pilot act.
What in the dick suck even is this? Hang on. I'm gonna. Do
Is it giving an award
here.
to the guy that bailed out of the F-35?
Yeah. It's fucking, oh man, it's just so gruesome. Like, you think about that woman's life. Like, I really, I feel bad for old woman Diane Feinstein, who clearly had like severe dementia and was being elderly abused by Nancy Pelosi's oldest daughter, Ms. Prouda. And I think about young Diane Feinstein, who was just getting the shit beat out of her by her Russian mother and nearly killed several times because her Russian mother was like, I don't know, like a Tolstoy fucking heroine. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, the only fair thing to do is to kill my children. This is the only way to take them out of the world's misery. And she just like fucking 8-year-old Diane in the bathtub, drowned this poor girl. I feel really bad for her for that, but like, there's like
For
a
those
really
two
long
Right.
time.
specific Diane Feinsteins,
Yeah,
all
they-
the other ones
Yeah.
you can kind of do
Yeah.
without.
Well, like the Diane
Yeah.
Feinstein, who was like, the Confederate flag needs to be in the proud part of the South that is San Francisco. Well, that Diane
Yeah, that was
Feinstein could take that
strange.
flag and shove it up her own ass. Like, if she had died from that,
That was a
that would've been
weird.
fine.
It was a weird pick. It was a weird find the guy that kept ripping it down. That was a
Yeah.
weird pick also
Yeah.
of her to do. Just weird for, someone progressive.
Allegedly progressive. You're cutting out now.
Alleged. Oh, you're super cutting.
Yeah.
Even
Uh,
fucking Coppola was calling herself progressive, so it definitely has no meaning anymore.
No. Well, like, they're progressive in like the 1920 sense, but the problem is in 1920s
A lot of-
progressive was like, it will be a cold day in hell that a black votes. And it's like, wow, I don't know if that's the term you should be using. We already had that in society.
Oh, they weren't saying black.
No, they
Right.
definitely weren't. No way.
Depending on how progressive they were, they chose one of two N-words. One of them is mildly more, like, tolerable. Yeah.
One would be
No, her
in
version
poor
is to say
taste,
you
but we
people.
could say.
Yeah. One we could say in poor taste, or in some context in a neutral case. The other one, it's gonna be real hard pressed for us to justify saying at least 4/5 of us, which is a better compromise than what the Constitution had.
What, you got a problem with words?
No,
What about my free speech?
listen. If it wouldn't get the stream taken down, like hard shut off, you would be free to say what you need to say, my friend. Right now,
No way that can go wrong.
yeah. No way that What could Dan and Michael Jordan Peterson say to get the stream taken down? What can't
The
they
real
say?
question is, how quick of a record could we make it?
What was the record? It was like 3 seconds into talking about the Amazon Union situation. That shut us down fast.
Oh yeah, that shut us down real quick.
Yeah.
Check.
Check.
Okay, my bad.
Check.
Not on me.
Check it out. Check it out. Diane's dead. Check it out. I got that soundboard working fast. I need that. I can't wait till she shows up to work on Monday and everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Not a single
It's
one
like
will be
that Tales from
confused.
the
What are you
Dark Side
talking about?
episode.
I had a bit of the case of the unlife, but then I saw a Negro trying to get on a bus and it enraged me so much I got back up.
Just cleared right up.
I have a question with the gerontocracy.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do they just keep getting older? Is everybody just gonna suddenly turn into Kissinger? Is like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Did you see that
Depends
picture?
on how much adrenochrome they stockpile.
Yeah.
Are they gonna amend the dress code? Have like hospital gowns on the floor?
That would be
Did you
baller.
see that? You see
Oh,
that picture?
fuck.
Because
They blame. Oh
the
shit! They
twisted
blamed
arm.
Fetterman. Hold on, dude. They blamed Fetterman for the dress code thing, but I think that's what they were getting ready to do.
Oh well, clearly he pushed her all the way. He pushed her over the edge with the insulting sweatsuits.
Yeah, he killed her with the sweatsuits. Fetterman is based. I won't
Yeah.
hear otherwise.
Now, he doesn't wear sweatsuits. He wears a hoodie and like Cargo shorts.
Yeah, okay,
Like a
whatever.
hoodlum.
Yeah, like a
Cargo
hoodlum,
shorts.
like a Western PA hoodlum.
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 And
What
on
do you-
that hoodie
yeah.
is the stars and bars.
They would have dragged it.
I was
And
feeling
blue line.
I was feeling a bit under the weather, but then I found out that the vice president is a black. And I was so mortified I came to vote to make sure that could never happen again. All right,
Oh,
Diane.
did you hear that? Did you hear that shit where they was like where they was talking about like Kamala and the election or whatever and how bad she's doing,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, well, she's the first black female vice president, so they're just not gonna like her.
I'm sure that's what made her unlikable.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
Because even the black
The
people don't like her.
You know
the
what?
backlash that people said was coming for Obama is supposedly coming for her. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I might think that was possible if she had like done a bunch of like noticeable shit, but like she didn't really do anything to have much of an opinion about. She didn't definitely do anything that was distinctly white or black or anything like that. Definitely not.
Well, she
No,
did a
she
lot of
Being
white people.
barred out
definitely
in the
did some
middle
white
of the
shit.
day is pretty white lady.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
guess so, yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty classic rich white lady. Let's not cut her off from her from what she's due credit wise in terms of her excellent politicking. Here's the thing, right? Okay. Let's divert into that for a second, right? The country is probably legitimately 30% hardcore fuck women misogynistic. 30%, right?
Right. Between
Casually
Pepe's and like
misogynistic up to
weirdos.
probably 70%.
Oh yeah.
Passing acts of misogyny, I'd be hard pressed to find one human being who hasn't done an active bigotry against every other group on the planet unknowingly. I'd be hard pressed to believe there's a person who's done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, okay, so we know that women have this uphill fucking battle before them.
Well, you
How come
can't
some
count.
women could get elected, but people like Kamala come off like a total jackass and an asshole?
Well, you
Yeah.
can't count me because fascists aren't people.
No, I
But no,
want to
that's
be
what it,
serious. Like, okay, we know
that's what
this
it
was an
really
uphill
is.
battle for her, right? We know this.
Yeah.
So, how do the other ladies get elected to the government positions? How do they pull it off through that uphill battle? Could it be that they were more likable to voters, perchance? That
Yeah.
voters
Or
wanted to
No,
vote
that
for
doesn't
them?
make any sense.
Yeah, is that how voting works? I
No, no, no,
forgot.
no. This doesn't track it off for Democrats.
Oh, Dan, you son of a
I
bitch.
thought you married another politician and then,
Yeah.
just grabbed his coattails and kind of like tried to leapfrog up.
That's how
No. I've seen
Yeah,
a
you
lot of
get your
videos on
feet
the
and
internet. I can tell you exactly how these women get promoted. After hours. In the after hours episode, naturally.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. All right, you win. That was a good one. That was a goddamn good one. You got me, you son of a bitch.
I
You
mean,
got
that
Got
was,
your
that was a
ass.
genre.
me.
That was a
give us-
genre for a while. Like I guess that is kind of still a genre, but
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
genre for a while.
What, Pelosi?
No.
No, just like getting a job was a genre for a
Like
little
the
while.
casting
Okay.
couch.
I was about
Yeah,
to say,
yeah.
I
No, it was
Girl Pelosi is not a genre.
it's still like that is a permanent genre. Sexually harassing a woman at work is always going to be a pornographic genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I guess I did see an ad the other day that said like horny office or something, like it was
Naughty
like a
office,
show.
dude.
You know? Yeah. That's what it was. Like but it sounded like it was like a show. Like we just do this every week because
Oh,
the
it's a
same
show.
crowd folks-
Yeah, it's certainly at least a
They're
spectacle.
going to show you something.
Yeah, they are. No, there's a really gruesome one, right? There's a really gruesome one. It's always like this one always takes me back. This is we wind the clock back. Dan's about 20, right? So about 17 years ago. It's burned in my mind. It has actress Avi Scott in it. It's called
Oh.
Naughty
I-
Bookworm, right? It's a Naughty Bookworm video, which is still going on. Those are still coming. It's making the grade our way, right? So you know what they mean there. It's not about schoolwork, madam. It's about certain kind of jobs, but not a homework job. You know what I'm saying? And
But Dan, what do you need all those hard drives for?
yeah, what do I need them for is an interesting question. That's why I go to Japan. I can't hear the dialogue, right? That's the real secret. I can't hear how monstrous this is.
Just put
But
your
the
fingers in your ears
premise,
and go la 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 la.
yeah, basically, if I can't hear it, it's not misogynistic. It papers over the obvious problems in the industry and the framework of the fantasy structure of our sexuality, which needs to be subverted and destroyed and rebuilt, reconstituted before we do that. There's the whole thing. We can get into sex work if you want, but for the second, I'm watching this video, right? And the premise is that AV is a college student. She plays college softball. She's very good at her position, but she's transferring to UCLA, specifically UCLA. And the coach is like, that's a bunch of
Wow.
bullshit. If you want, and then for some reason she needs these paperwork to get out of something at her college, amorphous, right? Just to get something out of her college, she needs her to sign it. So he's like, okay,
Oh yeah, like you failed or something. I don't know.
yeah, we're gonna do some quid pro quo, classic sexual assault right here. And then the video's like 40 minutes long, so that's only about 10 minutes of video. So that's a hell of a lot of sexual harassment going on in that video.
Right, and it's front loaded too, right?
Yeah,
Like
they lay out very clearly.
provided. It's not provided like that it's just part of the general list of scenes that you're going to go through after that. It's front loaded. It's specifically where it goes in the. This. I guess you're saying still is.
Let's not pretend that there's an actual story to these things.
Oh, there is. There's an actual story, but that story is always, this is the way we're going to rape this woman today. All I'm saying is this.
Right.
I understand that what happened, the behind the scenes of that video is that woman got paid a lot of money to show up and perform a legitimate job, right? She did her job. She acted, and then she performed in a different manner. But the narrative of the story she told was a positive story, and the fella, right? Let me not put all the onus on her, but that industry said, we're going to pay you to live out a fantasy in which a college student is raped.
Yeah,
and she took money from that.
Yeah.
Because if she didn't, she wouldn't have a job. Like that couldn't be. She could not do that particular job because that is the thing they're manufacturing, right? They're manufacturing rape fantasies in a lot of these cases. It's very rarely that you see a video where the premise is like the husband comes home from work and he's like, "Oh, honey, I'm tired," and she's like, "Well, hold on, I got something for you. That'll fix you being tired." And he's like, "Hell yeah!" Or like the wife comes home, "Oh, I'm tired. Oh, honey, let me rub them feet. Let me find out." And then she's like, "Oh yeah." You don't see those. They exist. You don't see them too often, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right, gotta always
The market for those is not as robust.
Well, no, because you're not raping a woman.
Right.
So when people are like, "Oh, you can't do this to sex workers," you can't, but you can be pretty fucking critical of the capitalist sex work industry. And if you're not, I'm suspicious. Because I've seen what you people put out on OnlyFans too, and God help me, somehow AV's classic video was way more feminine and empowering. The story of so don't try to talk shit like somehow like OnlyFans is good for people. The premise underlying all of it is horrific. So any individual performance, you look at that Amaranth, right? You look at her, that poor woman, right? Her boyfriend was out there making her do virtual blowjobs in front of 10-year-olds, which people were defending to the fucking hilt.
What?
And then it turns out, what she would do is she'd act like she was sucking the mic off, right? That's how she lured the 10-year-old boys in to keep watching her content. Well, the reason now, that makes Amaranth sound like a fucking pig, right? It makes her sound like a monstrous pig, a groomer, all that shit. Fun fact, though, the reason she did that was because she wanted to avoid her boyfriend knocking her fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
Because when the boyfriend, when she didn't do what the boyfriend wanted, or when she was just alive in the same room as the boyfriend and he was in the correct mood, he beat the fuck out of her. So like that woman was actually getting raped to put out the content where people would be like, this bitch is a groomer. And like I agree, the things she were doing.
And then like he was keeping all of the money too, right?
Yeah, he was keeping. She was popping off like $2 million. And he's keeping all the fucking money while he's beating this woman. Yeah, I agree she was doing groomer shit. Why was she doing it? Because she was trying to avoid dying at the hands of a white man's rage. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And for all the time she got the fuck beat out of her, like, we're laughing, right? Because it's like, there's a dark humor in the fact that, yeah, this woman had to go through this because of this. And there's a really dark humor because if you don't laugh, what do you do then, right? You're just going to be enraged because it isn't really all that funny that this happened to this poor woman. I have a lot of sympathy for her.
Yes.
When
I mean, there's guys posting, in affirmative of all of this shit
yeah,
everywhere, all times. There's guys hanging around saying this shit to each other in the affirmative and reinforcing this shit everywhere all the fucking time. And if you're not going to do anything about that, which we can't really, it's not legal to do anything about it.
and they'll get on us too, because we got one woman in our group. They'll get on us too. I get a bunch of men functionally sit around and talk about women, and we're not saying rape them. We're saying quite the opposite. There's a lot of fundamentally disturbing premises that shouldn't be there because, like, our kids will see this. The neighbors' kids will see
I'm
it.
glad you clarified that.
What's
Yeah,
Sons
we're
of
taking a
Freer is
bold-
not saying rape them.
Yeah.
We're taking a bold anti-rape,
Bold
take a bold anti-rape position here.
Yeah.
And one that's not demeaning to sex workers. I don't think what they do, again, there's no illegitimacy to what they do. The framework of what they do it in is monstrous. The industry we have is crap. Like, how is that arguable? How in any way can you argue that and be like, well, there's a certain amount of it that's empowering? How popular is that shit? Huh? Go on Pornhub. Just tell me. Go ahead, peek around. One of the world's most popular sites for free content. How popular is the feminist empowering stuff?
Yeah. It's definitely not outnumbering the alternative.
It's not outnumbering the alternative in quantity or popularity. So there's a fundamental problem in the industry, and like that is a
The
symptom.
market is innocent and never does anything ever wrong, ever.
Jake, you sound
Ever
different tonight.
continue to grow.
Or is that bit too old now that you're like some?
No.
All
I
praise
still
to
argue
my
that the
God.
market is
All praise to my
amoral.
God.
The market is amoral. Well, no, but not like it's a good thing. It's a net positive. It's not net positive. You're right. It's amoral. It's a value neutral proposition. It's whatever rape you put into it is the rape you get out of it. You finish that one. Yeah, but that's that kind of point here. You look at Dianne Feinstein's life. You look at this shit, and a lot of people make these. And I want to finish this point first. Like, they say a bunch of dudes sitting around talking about this shit. We got two options, really, right? Because we're not going to be like, yeah, rape broads. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to advocate that position. I'm sorry. If you're a rapist, boo-hoo. You get the wall. So you got two options. We can remain entirely silent on it, or we can talk about it and be like, yeah, it's bad that we do this. You know what I mean?
Arguably, it's the opposite. They need us to start talking about the stuff because we need to be the ones to see dudes just on the slide talking about it randomly and be like, yo, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Like, what the fuck
kind
is
of
wrong
need
with you,
that.
bro?
That's evidence that your talking points are working in burying it. We agree with your premise that women should not be rape victims. Like, I know it's a low
Very
bar.
controversial.
In this country, kind of a high bar to meet.
Yes. Like I say, taking the bold position in America of rapist.
We are.
All the Republicans are just flipping the table like, ah!
Yeah.
That's why they'll never love us. Like, when they're like, you people are loved by MAGA. We are pretty anti-rape, and ergo we cannot coexist with MAGA in any meaningful capacity. Like,
They
it's just
are
impossible.
so dramatically pro-rape that there's
Yeah.
just no hanging out in a chill or comfortable way.
I mean, and
how would
not
you
for
get your
nothing.
white babies?
Like, Dan already lost them earlier when he described the whole setup of, the college co-ed having to trade her body for a grade or whatever. When he
Yeah.
classified that as rape, those guys already got mad and left.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
They're like,
They
that was
made
my
the
entire
difference.
college dating experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
You
I
can't-
agree. You're a rapist.
You
Weird
can't,
that you
can't get
chose
away
to
with
have your
that.
college dates while you were a professor.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't get away with that anymore.
It's those bow tie wearing ass motherfuckers too, ain't it?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
they made college woke now. There's no more raping.
Yeah.
And it's ruined.
One of the
So
perks
woke.
of being a professor used to be
What do
having
you
to pick up your
mean?
class.
What do you mean? I gotta just go to classes and not do any of the.
I don't know. I'll say this, right? You got a 25-year-old doctor candidate. You got a 42-year-old professor. I think there's some sketchy shit there, right? But on its face, that doesn't. I don't believe in the infantilization of these people, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, I would be kind of hard pressed to be like, it seems a little sketchy, doesn't it?
They shouldn't even take it that hard. They shouldn't even take it that hard. Japan is still worse. Like Great Teacher Owner was like 1992 or something.
Ah, yes, the lesser of
No,
two
they
evils.
didn't make
yes.
child porn illegal until I was out of high school. They didn't illegalize it, and even then, like their
It
version
was
of
like dragging
illegal.
their feet.
Yeah, not only were they dragging their feet, their version of illegal is not what we would consider illegal. Like we don't use that word the same way they do.
It means a
So
different thing.
it means a different thing wildly. I promise you that. I gotta reposition again because I
Yeah,
know
they gotta do like us and make it legal only if you're rich.
well, yeah, they haven't reached that stage yet, which is it's marginally better than it's legal, but like realistically, how much? Arguably not at all. You know, at least it's illegal for somebody to do it. I get not to do, but it's still bad. No, Japan's like I've always said that Japan's. You can see what kind of monstrous thing is coming based on Japan's industry because like the OnlyFans people were like, I know, I'll use all these machines and I'll do all this solo content. It's like Japan has been doing that since the 90s. You're catching up to something that's like 20 years old now. It's not that impressive, right?
Yeah.
They went through a pregnancy fetish, which like if you watch it, there's a not insignificant subset of like pregnancy fetish videos that came out in the last decade, right? In the American market, a big focus on the internal, from about 2000. Well, I guess 2006 to present, right?
Yeah.
Japan's starting to advertise adult women as underage girls. So I feel like that's coming.
Wait,
Right.
what?
So like
Explain.
you have an actress who's now 18 because they just changed. This is the thing. They made child porn illegal, but they lowered the age that you could participate in pornography. So now you can't smoke until you're 20, drink until you're 20. It used to be you couldn't do porn until you're 20. You had to be you had to be alive 20 years, right, to do this stuff. Now it's 18. So now you can get banged. And in Japan, if you're in the adult film industry, the math says you're also an actual active prostitute, right? So they've lowered the age of prostitution in Japan in a de facto sense. But now they're taking the extra step of being like, look, this 13-year-old schoolgirl is banging. You weren't allowed to do that not too long ago. That was actually totally taboo. You weren't allowed to advertise your video with an adult woman in it as a child participant.
Okay, so the 20-year-old, the putative 20-year-old
Yeah.
is or 18-year-old now.
Oh, so they're like doing like the movies, like the movies,
Right, like where it's high schoolers, but they're obviously like 35.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
these ones are
So like the reverse.
Less
Yeah.
obvious.
Well, not reverse, but just not as
yeah, they're
more
advertising
extreme
them
version.
as children. That's a recent thing, like seen it in the
No,
past week. But if
It's
one
so
studio's
so
doing it,
disgusting, the false advertising.
ooh, no, cringe. I declare it cringe, sir. No, it's really
That's why
disheartening
they
to see.
outlawed it. That's why they outlawed it. They were like, "This is terrible market behavior. You can't do this in an advertisement.
Yeah,
Insulting to the
Can't
customer."
do this in an
Yeah.
advertisement.
you can't fake people into wanking
You can only do
to
this on
fake
billboards. Can't
children.
do this on
They have to be real children, otherwise
Oh.
it's just wrong.
This has
can't
gone down a
do
gruesome path. So like that's a trend that I think is going to see an uptick in its The word is monstrous, right? There's nothing.
Will we get to see?
Yeah.
Will we get to see Pelosi as a ghoul?
At this rate, if they're willing to do it to Dianne Feinstein, there's no rhyme or reason they won't do it to their own. They're already doing it to their own, so there's no
Gonna wake
rhyme or
up in
reason.
one night. You're gonna wake up in one night and hear some strange noises outside, and take step foot out the door and look, and there's a shadowy figure.
You look
And
behind.
it's over a body, and it's eating something, and it looks
Shia
up.
LaBeouf. I mean,
and it's
Dianne Feinstein.
Dianne Feinstein.
Hold on, I got this one. Wait, where is it? Thriller script. I need the dialogue that Vincent Price says.
With the red eyes, the red glowy eyes.
You guys talk. I'm gonna figure this out.
Talk amongst
Okay.
yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darkness falls across the
like-
land. The midnight hour is close at hand.
I
Pelosi
think-
crawls in search of blood
Such a blood.
to terrorize y'all's
Terrorize
neighborhood.
y'all's neighborhood. Gonna do it tonight.
Oh, we got a deep fake Pelosi on a fucking Thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Actually, you could do Crown of Zombies. You could put a bunch of their faces on them. It honestly
you really could.
starting to.
You're starting to work on a real idea, and that's not what this show's about.
No.
Yeah, we need fake real ideas.
No.
Okay. Shout out to Kurt Vonnegut. You may be kicking it in the chat, but yeah, if that motherfucker is around, sometimes I can throw a fucking layup, like edit this picture to do this. Sometimes I can throw a layup on that shit mid-show if that motherfucker is around. But like me personally, I don't think quickly enough to like figure out how to slap that shit up while we're also doing it.
It's difficult. It's not impossible, but it is difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it's gruesome shit. And I just, all this stuff has a context, right? We've all lived through the war on women or whatever, right? Like we've all lived through
Yeah.
that, but I have never seen for a group of people who all profess to just love the cis woman as the be all end all of evolution. I
mean,
have
if you-
never seen such an unprecedented attack on womanhood in my entire life. And mind you, I grew up in like the era where, like, again, like raping a woman was considered dating, right?
Yeah. If you lay out the footage of Jay Leno, doing Monica Lewinsky material, it could stretch to the fucking moon.
Yeah.
And now, if you ask anybody, they'll at least admit that Bill Clinton is a fucking creepy rapist. But like,
Actually, not everyone.
Not everyone.
Not
There's
everyone.
a whole party.
Had a discussion about that at work one day, actually, and one of my coworkers is not convinced that Bill did anything wrong.
oh
Ah.
Jesus!
See there again,
Even
like-
after he was found guilty.
Well, he wasn't found guilty of nothing.
I mean, as far as Monica, I didn't
Yeah.
ask about his opinion of the man generally.
Well,
Yeah.
It was probably glowing.
That would be
Obviously,
an
he's a fan.
interesting human being. That is like,
Obviously, they're a fan.
yeah, I fucking hate Clinton's policies, but he did nothing wrong with Monica Lewinsky.
Actually, I can think of quite a
I did
number of
too.
older men that would probably agree with that
Yeah.
statement.
Actually,
Unfortunately,
You know what, Jenk? I'm
Yeah.
gonna relate to you a story here. So my stepdad raised me to be a hardcore fascist, and that was one of his points. He was like, "Look, Clinton was a terrible president, but
Yeah.
are you gonna
He
turn
did do
that
it right.
down? You gonna turn that down?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean,
Yes? Question mark?
I don't know what to say here because like there doesn't seem to be a right answer that makes me feel good. Like,
Right. Like, I don't know. I'm married and I'm also the president.
No,
but
this was when I
guess-
was a teenager. Like this was when I was a child. And like mind you, like I would have been like 13, 14. Like
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like
But that was, I do remember also old white dude saying this at the time, that was his strongest selling point, was being accused of rape.
Yeah,
What?
that was
It took
it was
me
a
a minute
fucked up
there.
time.
What?
What a good pitch.
Yeah.
His policies are dog shit. They're awful. But what those women are saying about him is bullshit.
Yeah,
They all
stick-
want it.
I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they don't say civil and political.
Makes me feel closer to him, even though I disagree with his communist, socialist, Democrat politics.
Now I hate him for being part of the Jewspiracy. He's
just
part of a Judeo-Bolshevist plot, and
You know,
I want to
Bolshevism,
execute him. But
He's just too funky with his
Judeo,
saxophone.
Jewish Bolshevism.
Juice of it.
are we really gonna hound this man for what, a little bit of tail on the side? Is that why we're gonna take? Was that why we're mad at this Judeo-Bolshevist, neo-Nazi fascist?
Are
Huh?
they talking about Bill Clinton or Russell Brand?
Bill Clinton.
Oh,
Bill
okay.
Clinton. Yeah, that's how they would talk about Clinton. They'd be like, I know he's a cuck for the Jewspiracy, but and he's trying to homosexualize our kids, but we gonna really be mad at him for a little bit of scoos? Huh? Are we really gonna get on his shit for a little bit of scoos? Is that right? Is that what we're gonna do?
Some scoosball.
Really? Like it was that was like that those were like real conversations I overheard several times. I remember,
Foosball.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
a little bit of foosball, scoosball, you get my drift?
Scoosball. It's like football, but not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Them
Oh, there's a
being-
ball in there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a
Ew.
ball. Maybe two.
Them being like, can you believe Bill Clinton raped that woman? Like 20 years ago, those guys were like, look, he's a terrible president. He's probably the most awful president of my lifetime. But we really gonna be mad at him? I mean, look at her. You know, it wasn't even good. You know, he was just fucking around a little bit. I don't know why we're all mad.
That's when they get not good, and that's when they get mad every time. It's not his fault.
Yeah, he's just getting a little pussy. That's all. I think the Simpsons had the best joke on that, for the record. The Simpsons. You remember when Homer was going to be an astronaut, right? Think back to that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's been on this kick. He's been on this kick that he can't get no Tang, meaning the orange drink. So he calls up NASA. He starts bitching him out looking for Tang. And then NASA hangs up on him right after when they hear this fucking mentally ill jackass, right? Then he calls up and he's like, you're a terrible president, Clinton. And another thing, how come I can't get no Tang around here? If there's one guy who should be able to get Tang, I think it's President Clinton. It's like, that's a fucked up joke.
Yeah, because it displays the Republican or I guess liberal aspect that like that's what rich people are supposed to do. Rich,
Yeah.
powerful people.
Well,
Yeah.
that's like
yeah.
a running thing
They're
with
like,
them,
they're
right?
like, I don't see the problem. They're like, I don't see the problem.
Yeah, there is an idea in like in conservatism, obviously, it's like women aren't shit, so you can just do whatever you want to them, right? That's like easy, whatever. Like that's not,
Right, their property. Yeah.
yeah, it's not even interesting to talk about, frankly. Like that's how depressing and pervasive that idea is. That's not a radical idea for them, but
No.
when you look at libs, a lot of their like watch their TV shows with a really critical eye and tell me how many of them aren't premised on like somebody's raping somebody in this, and it's supposed to be like this really hot thing, like this really exciting taboo thing that you're supposed to engage in, and it gets in the workplace or it's like with negging the female friends or whatever. Hell, negging the male friends now, they've really moved into like being like, yeah, we'll just put it in both directions. That way everybody will watch.
Like, I'm happy to see people getting away with like more sex stuff in entertainment on the one hand, because like, censorship sucks, and I like trashy television and movies and
Sure.
cheap shit, bad shit. But at the same time,
Sometimes you
like,
might want to see some boobies.
right. But at the same time, like, a lot of that shit, it just has to be so fucking creative, and it just has to be so fucking hardcore that I'm just like, God damn, like the only thing I can think of is a commercial where it's like, tired of regular sex. Like every time I see like the latest awesome fetish, I always just like in the back of my mind, I just hear somebody like, regular sex sucks, and it's like old people, and they're like, oh, like
What can I do?
re-
All I can do is have regular, boring sex.
regular sex like regular sex like fucking kicks ass. Like, and I just every time I see like the latest thing, I'm like, God damn, regular sex.
I gotta figure out how to do that now.
Did that have to? Yeah, there's a lot of time. Like I've noticed, like I tried to, like I did really try to put effort into watching The Walking Dead, and I watched,
Mhm.
like a little bit of Game of Thrones. I really tried to give these things a shot because everyone was like, "It's so good," and I'm like, why does it feel like there's always a rape right around the corner? And like in Game of Thrones,
Surprise!
yeah, Game of Thrones, like, oh, it's because there is. Like every other episode, there's
Right.
going to be a rape. But
If you read the fucking thing, Martin sort of poises himself as if he is doing like an indictment on like how high fantasy and medieval material is sort of mythologized to not be brutally misogynistic or whatever. Like it reads like that he's sort of, putting his pinky on the side of his face and being like, and if this was fucking Tolkien, he wouldn't tell you that there was a rape right here. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like it is, it's there, it works, I get it, but like also fucking Dennis McKiernan did a rip on Tolkien called the Iron Tower series that is like a dark, violent Lord of the Rings, but it doesn't have a bunch of weird fucking in it, George. It doesn't. It doesn't have like hobbits fucking like trolls and shit in it, George.
yeah,
Because
yeah, you do that one time. If you put one of those scenes in there, like you can just be like, look at how brutal and nasty this world is. Okay, I still don't like it, but like, fine, right? That's a narrative plot device that may move the plot forward. Fucking Farscape did one. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Which was like,
we came in talking about that show. Yeah.
yeah, like
Mhm.
Farscape did one, and that was fucking. It was kind of off-putting and weird because of like the nature of Farscape. But Farscape has a lot of like casual misogyny in it. And I like Farscape. Like I like watching it, but like I'm not like,
Right.
I'm not one of these people who panics because I saw something bad on TV or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, man, something about this is like, this scene is particularly off-putting, and like I don't think we needed to get this explicit in graphics. Farscape. This was on network television. Number one. Number two, like
Mhm.
we get it. It's the tree from Evil Dead. You know what I mean? The rest of
Yeah.
your show is not this dark, so this is incredibly off-putting. You win here.
And like, why did everybody loves that movie, but at the same time, why did Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi know that they were getting that fucking movie made so hard when they, that they were getting financed when they set up the fucking tree scene? Like, why
Yeah.
can you see them walking around the woods being like, man, this is really wild. People are going to talk about this. You know what I
I've
mean?
never
Like,
actually seen it.
You haven't seen it?
right, the first one is
Yeah.
fine. If
Are we
people
having a
are going to
fucking
go back,
movie night with the Evil Dead for Halloween? Is that what we're doing this month? Are we going
let's
back
do
to the
two.
movie nights?
We
Let's
might
do
have to,
two, or
because
let's
I've
do
never
Army of
seen it.
Darkness. Because 2 and Army of Darkness are better. Evil Dead 1 is
No,
fine, but
fuck that. Evil Dead 1 is the good one. And the remake is number 2. I will fight on this. The third best
oh, I've
one
never seen
is
the
the
remake.
newest.
Is the remake good?
The remake is okay. The remake is fucking sweet. Everybody who hates it
I've
just hates
never
fun.
seen it.
It
Oh,
it
no shit.
Hey,
That's cool.
fun.
they hate fun. They capture the awful magic of the tree scene again. They capture the awful magic of the fucking Deadites converting one by one. Like the criticism was like their characters aren't that developed, and it's like,
Have
do you,
Well,
do
you,
you- what was
you
you
cover
watched the
Scotty?
that.
horror movie?
Yeah, what was
Well,
Scotty's
plus,
defining feature? Like, what?
how are you
Tell
gonna
me right now about the character of Scotty. What
how are
motivates
you gonna
Scotty?
how are
He's
you
a
gonna
hothead.
replace Bruce fucking Campbell anyway? You're not gonna do that shit. It's
No,
like if they really.
they did. Like they did just fine. Bruce approves. I
Oh, it's
approve.
good? Is
Yeah.
it a cat that was? Is it a cat that was maybe playing him in the musical? Because the musical is good as shit.
The
Like,
musical,
that's
okay, the
my-
musical is fun fucking time, but it's completely different. I mean, the
my
Evil
most-
Dead remake has two protagonists. They have a male and female protagonist, a brother and sister. Okay, I don't want to spoil the movie for you, so I can't. I have to watch what details I give. But the bottom line
Okay.
is that David and Mia fucking rock. They fucking rock. And I'll tell
that's
you what,
great
the
to hear.
newest one made by the goddamn Zoomer crowd. Guess what? Good fucking movie. Good fucking
Really?
Evil Dead movie. Yeah, it's the third best one. The problem is like you're asking to trump the top dogs. You're not going to do that. Are you going to make the third best in that franchise? Fuck yeah, you are. Army of,
Like,
Army of Darkness is one of the funnest movies I've ever seen. Just objectively a fun, funny movie. But no, it's shit. Compared to the rest of it, shit. Evil Dead 2
right.
takes the Deadites and turns them into it turns it into a psychological horror film, like a 60s style horror, and it
Okay.
lower on the like people love that movie way more so. Lower on the lower on the totem pole. Give me the slasher film. Give me the fucking monsters, man. Give me the fucking evil lurking in the dark. Give me the Lovecraftian horror element.
Yeah.
Give it to
Like,
me. Put it in my eyes.
It's great to hear that those are good because like I do love the old one. I'm my rating of it is ridiculous because like Army of Darkness is only my favorite just because like the rest of it is fine, but like that one part at the end where they run the skeletons and the deadites and shit off, and that one cheap ass skeleton runs in front of the camera and he goes, "We're getting the hell out of here," or some shit like that. Like
Yeah.
that literally just like that guy's voice, I'm getting the hell out of here, just with him like shaking around like a muppet, like that scene plays in my mind sometimes. Trip myself up.
It is
Like
it is by far the funniest motherfucking thing.
that's
But
that's why that's my number one, and it's not based on any kind of like appreciation of technique at horror or whatever. Like I really don't think like Raimi has a lot of like technique at horror. Like Raimi like doesn't need technique. Raimi's just like really tasteful. Raimi's just like you're gonna want to look at Bruce do this stupid shit. You're gonna want to see this puppet. You're gonna want to see this dummy explode. Like Raimi just is like just knows what kind of dumb garbage you want to see on fucking screen.
oh man, see, I rate Evil Dead very highly as a masterpiece in Lovecraftian horror.
Hell yeah, because they did like in the '80s before. I mean, you had your From Beyond, you had your The Stuff, you had like
Yeah.
your less, you had your less direct references, you had your Reanimator with the less direct references and shit. But like in the '80s, everybody took a crack, you know, and it none of it was super successful,
The Thing,
you know, possibly
the Thing's the
because of
best one.
curse.
The Thing is by
Yeah,
far the
that's
best
most
one.
successful one. I can't remember if anybody gave a shit about it when it came out or not.
No, it was a slept on movie because of how gory that was for the time.
Yeah.
You know, and just the plot didn't resonate with people. That one is the best of the pack. But to put down the Evil Dead, which was actually, if I remember right, it was either a movie from 81 or 79.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Evil Dead.
'Cause
Oh, I'm just gonna look it up.
The car is so fucking 70s decade, you know.
81. It was 81. I knew it. I fucking nailed it. Nailed it the first time. Should have never doubted myself. Always had it. Always had it. Top Deck always wins. Top Deck always wins. Anywho, the original is such a fucking Lovecraftian horror movie. These fucks go out in the woods. They run into an ancient evil that's not demonic, right, but has traits of demonism because it exists in a different plane. Now they obviously they kind of took it to like this ritualistic, but they use the Book of the Dead, they use the Necronomicon for a reason because they wanted to tie, the rest of the series wanted to tie it to literal hell or like some conception of the underworld, which is like detracting from me. I don't want to think about it as a moral battle versus good and evil. What I think about it is the amoral universe that humans exist in with its ups and downs, as opposed to these dark cosmic forces, which are not only ambivalent to our existence, but are in fact hostile to it by their very nature. The very nature of the thing is hostile to us, which is like that's where the Lovecraftian monsters aren't normally motivated by raw evil. Nyarlathotep is a rare exception. In From Beyond the movie, the evil human who fuses with the monsters is like legitimately evil.
Yeah.
Reanimator is like evil in the hearts of men, and once they get too far into science, they could do horrible things. But that
From Beyond is just like the straight up Resident Evil take, where it's just like this is this very Japanese sort of idea of no, they'll just take whatever power, like they're an
Yeah.
evil guy and they'll take whatever eldritch powers. They don't care about the horrific body horror consequences of it.
Right. So when you when you see that kind of shit, you know what I mean? Like you're moving so far away from like the overly Christianized versions of horror that we had, right?
Right. Yeah.
Stephen King kind of blends. Like he does a lot of blending of the shit. So sometimes Stephen King really turns me off, because
Yeah.
but he does, and to his credit as a writer, he takes a stab at a lot of different kinds of horrors, and more often than not passes the muster, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Listen, he's incredibly prolific and has a modicum of talent. So there is like, without a fail, he's going to produce some good books, right?
Yeah.
He's swinging the bat every fucking year.
Yeah.
He's gonna hit the ball eventually.
Read a good short story of his, Stealth Cthulhu story, that it's not Cthulhu specifically, but it's this guy that lives near this weird field where there's a bunch of rocks and shit. That's all the setup is. And then over a period of time, he sees this big weird face starting to work its way out of the dirt. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's short, simple, and it's not overly complicated. And it's entirely in stealth mode. It doesn't holler the names of like all the fucking dudes at you or anything. Like he made a really neat, respectful path.
Yeah, that was a hallmark of the Lovecraftian horror era, though, where like back then it was like you said these names, these alien names or whatever, because like nobody knew what they were, so they were immediately
Right.
terrifying by invocation, rather than like
Right.
we've had this content for fucking decades. If you started at age 12 and went to age 20, you could watch one of these movies pretty much every weekend of your life, or two of these movies every weekend of your life, and fill it from 18 to 20. From 12 to 22, right? You
Yep.
can just do
Yep.
that. So it's not as scary to be like Dark Cthulhu, Dark Sathagwa, Nyarlathotep,
Yeah.
he who hides. Like that shit's not scary anymore. But that's not. Even then, like I can test if you catch the viewer right, that shit will still creep the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
That's why the tree scene's effective. That's why when Cheryl's in the basement, and she's reaching out and she's screaming or whatever, Shelley just can't handle it anymore. It's like, what happened to her eyes? The fuck?
Right.
That line, that is the best. That is my favorite line in all the Evil Deads. What happened to her eyes? Just Shelley crying, just can't. You just watch all this horrible shit, and she can't get over that one microcosm of the whole horror. There's this whole bigger thing going on, but she's having such a problem processing it. She gets psychologically fixed on that one spot, and it leads to her downfall, which is
That's
just
the detail
insane.
that broke her brain.
Yeah, that little thing is all she can fucking. Out of all that horror, that's the only thing she can piece together. She can't process it at all. Like there's real terror in that. That's the kind of thing you do when you're really terrified. You just obsess over some minutia of a detail that your brain can't handle. That's the thing. Even though like the whole thing is horrifying. Like Cheryl floated and started mauling everybody. She's rotting while she's alive. She's transforming at will. She's saying all this horrible shit, but then like in her transformed state, you're like, what the fuck's wrong with her face? Like what? Like that's not the thing you obsess over in this scenario. That's how we know you're broke, Shelley. You're not gonna live through this one. You can't handle it.
Like, damn, she's under the weather. Sick.
Yeah. There's a reason the Evil Dead remake didn't get the better, because obviously it has the better special effects, right? And the way I kind of like the way they handled the force, the evil force. I like the way they handle that better, because they do name it, and they give it this they give it a Muslim name. You know what I mean? So they make it real terrifying and foreign, like they're just tipping their hat that like you people are fucking pigs, which I kind of love. I love being called a little piggy when I'm watching my movies. But there's like it takes them so long. It's like in the middle of shooting, they finally figure out how to capture that horror. Because there's one part where David's girlfriend, she has the ash hand thing happen to her. So she takes an electric knife and cuts her arm off, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh fuck, like they're like, everybody who's still alive is like, oh shit. and she's like, I feel better now, but right before dying. Like, it's just the way her voice sounds in that. It makes me sad every time. You know what I mean? Like, it hits like oh wow, she really was just fucked. Like, there was no saving this woman, and it feels real terrible to watch this.
Like it's one of these things where you see Raimi go on to do a bunch of mainstream stuff after unleashing this really out there, really kind of unique thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like
I think you resent him. I think you resent him a little bit. You're like, damn, how did he get to pull it off and we didn't? That's what I think's happening.
well, I mean, like,
Eh.
obviously all rich guys are terrible. I'm sure he's terrible. I mean, I'm sure they all are, but like
Oh yeah, he's a
it,
dick.
it,
Oh no, rich guy is a dickbag. Really?
it's impossible to be any madder at him than anybody else. Peter Jackson, with Dead Alive and fucking Beautiful Creatures and all this incredible fucking shit, right?
Oh yeah, he's
Peter
an
Jackson,
asshole, too.
fucking incredible. And then go just rake in bajillions of dollars making this old boring high fantasy story for like what, a decade or some shit. Like, I mean, you could by that same logic, you could resent any of these guys that are such promising filmmakers and they're coming up.
Do you know? You know what?
Especially
Uniquely speaking, you know how much of a shitbag Peter Jackson is?
probably massively.
His fetish is shitting in an overcoat and making his wife wash it.
Okay, cool.
What?
Cool.
That's his fetish. He likes to shit in an overcoat and then he'll be like, "Here, honey, deal with this." In fact, that's how he gets ready. That's how he used to get
How
ready
do
every
we
morning.
know that?
Are you implying that I may have made that up because it's a funny image of Peter
No,
Jackson?
Because Dan said it.
You're just shitting
Dan's
himself.
not allowed to lie on the internet. That's illegal.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely not allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the it's their fault. It's just them. They all think it's called the Kiwi steamer. It's
Mhm.
really popular.
Kiwi.
Yeah, and then of course, because
Really?
his wife's from New Zealand, she's like, "Nar, nar, nar,
No.
nar, nar,
Ivan.
nar."
Pretty boy.
Ivan. No again.
I haven't seen any Australians in a while.
I haven't seen them in the wild. They must be hibernating. It's that time of year.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the one cool Australian that we know that's trapped there with the rest of them and all the poison animals.
Who's that?
Dorcas.
Dorcas that comes on our show.
They're not really from Australia. It's all a bit.
No,
They're from the Bronx.
that motherfucker is from Australia. That motherfucker sound Australian.
We
as fuck.
heard
Number
of
one.
Kookaburra.
And number two, that motherfucker was out walking.
What you
and got his
heard
face.
was the mating call of an old Italian woman.
No, that's what I said. I was like, "Is that an old Italian woman?" And Dorcas goes, "What?"
Arr.
Like, because Dorcas ignores the sound of a bird that is like 10 feet away that makes it sound like an old Italian woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew that this motherfucker was really from Australia.
It was about that time I found out that Dorcas was really from Australia.
You
About
didn't.
that time.
If I had to point that like murder bird like fantasy monster sound out to you, then you really lived there.
This might be
So,
the
like,
best name ever.
It should sound like the fucking dinosaurs on Jurassic Park. I was just like, what the fuck was that? What?
Oh, we call that a pigeon, mate. Here, there's the worst movie name ever.
Was like, is he in an old gum tree? Is he in an old gum tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just moves on.
I forgot about that until just now when you were talking. For some reason, you were talking about Australia, so I immediately thought of it. When you see it, laugh because it's funny.
Yes, it is.
That's a fucking film name.
Australia,
Oh,
or as I like to call it,
SL levels. That one's for us. Fuck the audience. Fuck them. If you come to this later, fuck you. This was not for you. This was solely for us.
Right now, listen, lady. I know you don't have an agent, and I know they don't tell you what the movies are going to be about before you get here. But your partner is going to be wearing a blue-ringed octopus cock ring.
Covered in hot sauce.
Covered in
I
hot
need
sauce.
you, I need you,
Screams
I
of
need
gotta
you
be
to
real.
sign this right here. We're going to blow the Americans out the water. We're going to blow the Japanese out the water. I need you to sign this right here. We're gonna rub his shaft with eucalyptus.
Oh. So you're having like
Baz Luhrmann's.
this is like an
SL
Epstein
level
party
2.
now, man. This is getting gruesome. Shit.
What's this?
The woman,
I'm just
the woman
picturing it being a Baz Luhrmann musical.
the female star can't be from Australia because they're immune to all that shit.
Yeah.
So
It's what I'll
that's the
use already, mate. What's the difference here? What's going on? Who gives a fuck? That's got to be awful to just hear that all the time. Just two people screaming at each other. Well, who gives a fuck? Yeah, well, he does give a fuck. Who gives a fuck, mate? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck?
I haven't seen Amy in a while. Did she ever get unbanned?
I don't know. Maybe.
I thought he unbanned all the pedophiles and psychos.
I think she got herself suspended.
How much should I drop?
I don't know for what.
But you know what? I'm happier not knowing.
Yeah, me too. It was fun while it lasted.
I enjoy the fact that I don't know what happened to her exactly.
It was fun while it lasted. I made a bunch of friends. I saw a lot of freaks. You know, it was
Yeah.
fun while it lasted.
It was a positive experience.
Speaking of friends
Yeah.
and freaks, it looks like Skirt Vonnegut is here. What up, yo?
Woo! Jumping in late, but jumping in hot.
What's the
Yeah.
latest?
Oh, what's
I haven't
up?
clicked
Is
any of
that?
it.
That's what's up. Wait, open in browser? It's just that. By the way, that's the new name of the show now.
Open the browser.
Yeah, no, we're not calling it Sons of Trier anymore. It's now ASL level 2.
Yeah, it's catchy. You know, I like.
Yeah. That's it.
Goes down smooth.
ASL level 2. Da-na-na-na. What a
I'm
terrible
still
video
thinking about.
game.
I'm still thinking about the shit where Biden. It's like Felix posted it, or fucking somebody fucking. It is Felix. Okay, it's this thing where Biden is bragging on that fucking Counter-Strike 2 came out while he was president, and then I keep thinking in my head of like Trump is doing this thing where he's like that fucking Half-Life and Counter-Strike 1 is better, and we still like Gary's mod and shit.
Yeah.
Like I can't stop thinking about the fucking Trump rally where he's doing that shit, and they're just like they're screaming, they're throwing fucking Team Fortress 2 hats at him.
Is there Rule 34 of like Nancy's daughter there doming Dianne Feinstein? Like, I don't want to actually Google that and find out because if it's true, like, I have to commit an extrajudicial, non-voluntary, non-euthanasia.
Oh, all that stuff already even existed before today. All that stuff already even existed before today.
Did it?
What?
Probably.
Oh. Oh, God. All right, that's it. We're no longer a communist podcast. I'm fascist. We have to cleanse the earth.
Yeah.
They all have to die.
Must eliminate this degeneracy.
We have to. It's just we have to start with the conservatives and then we have to move to the liberals. Nobody's fascist enough to fix this. I'm gonna have to do the thing myself. I can't. I'm gonna have to be an avenging sword of God. I can't even. I mean, just holy shit. Like, you're right.
Back to the drawing board.
Somebody has drawn like an anime girl Dianne Feinstein showing her butthole, and I can't unsee it in my head. And I hate my life.
Yep, for
Oh,
sure.
that sucks.
Yeah,
Woo,
yeah.
motherfucker.
Just over the hole, there's the like the uwu thing. Yeah, her butthole, the wrinkles spell out uwu, and it's like just everybody needs to die.
Ooh, wrinkles.
The uwu butthole wrinkles.
I would send that to
I think
Lee to go.
I think I need to
collection
write another horror play is
on-
what I need to
And
do
her
because
freckles,
apparently,
her freckles say senpai.
yeah, I feel like I need to write another horror play because I'm apparently in a very dark place and I didn't even realize it.
Did you see that thing that lady wrote where she fucked Ben Shapiro in like a very unpleasant way?
Why was she fantasizing about doing that with Ben Shapiro? Nobody.
I don't know.
Nobody fantasizes about doing that with Ben Shapiro. Do you understand?
I've been
Not even
following a
Ben
bunch
Shapiro.
Not even Ben
I've been
Shapiro
following
fantasizes about that.
I've been following a bunch of cool accounts on here, and like I just pulled my phone out of my pocket at lunch at work, and then I was like, "Oh, this appears to be a story where somebody fucks Ben Shapiro." But it was funny though. It had a phrase in it. He scowled in the affirmative.
Yeah.
That shit made me laugh so hard. He
I don't-
scowled in the affirmative.
I don't want to be a
That's
leftist
exactly.
anymore. I want to be able to just do a bunch of genocides and have the government reward me for it. I don't want to be a leftist no more. I hate. I hate.
I don't want to be a leftist no more.
In one night, we have managed to switch my politics back to pre-2002. All right, I'm done. Marx was wrong. Nothing needs saved.
I'm not a leftist. I just debate a lot.
Yeah. I
It's
don't.
fun.
Whatever. Capitalism's fine. It just destroy it all. Burn it. The faster it burns, the better. I'm not an accelerationist. I just want it to burn. I'm not doing it for a better future. I just want it to be on fire.
You're on that supervillain plan.
Yeah, I've been like in the past month, I've been called an accelerationist, a fascist, the president of the MAGA third party movement.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm
Yeah,
gonna live it. I'm gonna live it. I'm gonna go do it better than them. I'm gonna be more aggressive than they ever could be because they're weak.
Yeah,
don't have
it's the
strength.
final countdown. It's the final countdown for that shit. I've been posting whatever the fuck I want to post and saying a bunch of stupid shit, and it's really fun.
That's
And
it.
you know, there's nothing funner than just using that thing real good a few more times. I've been seeing over on the new shit people posting screenshots of them getting banned off Twitter, and it's for a lot of dumb shit too. Like one cat got banned for posting just quote tweeting the Dianne Feinstein story and putting facts, which is obviously sarcastic because left wing accounts been doing that sarcastically for a while, but
Yeah.
they fucking permanently suspended that motherfucker.
It just all needs to go. Is what I'm saying.
That cat
It just needs to
Amos. Shout out to that dude that has had many accounts, but they're all Amos. That they sent a letter to that said you are not allowed to make a new account.
How are they gonna stop him from making a new account?
I don't know. Like they've got ban evasion shit, but I don't know what any of it does or how powerful or effective it is.
Show me the injunction, motherfucker. Show me it from the courts. I'll obey when it's from the courts. You can't do that. Fuck you.
It's really funny.
It's a violation of their terms of service.
Fuck your terms of service. Oh, okay. We're supposed to believe that now. That matters. Next week on Sons of Trier, watch Ass Hell Level 2. And just die a little on the inside.
It is spooky season.
It is. The funniest name, I will say this, the funniest adult film name also comes from Japan. It is from Ms. Haru Sakuraba. The film is I will never stop finding this funny, and it's hard to the film is just called A Girl Has Big Titties. And it's just so abstractly descriptive. I fucking die.
Like I love to follow the shout out Twitter, RIP Twitter. I love to follow the the fucking Japanese adult video title plot that just retweets titles. And all of the really outlandish ones are super funny, but every time I read a really outlandish one, in the back of my mind, I go, "A girl has big titties." It's the all timer. It just fucking reminds you every single time you read another good one. It's the all timer.
It is the all timer because you're never going to top something that's so like Hegel never talked about the abstract affirmative. He talked about defining things through negation, not defining things through the abstract positive. So it's really funny to me have this abstract affirmative, right? It's not a negation of anything. It's just a random statement. It almost violates Hume's law because it's like Like, that doesn't mean anything. God damn it! Like, it's just a step. It is a minor step above insert title here. Is what it is. And it just has me die every single fucking time. Like, think it through for a second. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's not. Usually these things are some sort of like as hell level 2. You get an idea of what's going on. This is just. It's so.
And it's not even this girl.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, it's not even like she does. It's like somebody fucking does. It's somebody. We don't know who, but we'll find her.
Who did it?
Yeah. It's my fucking favorite. Oh shit! I guess it's 11:26. We should start rolling. We've been on for an hour. We're truly anti-inflammatory. And
Before we go out, did you guys see? Before we go out, did you guys see that Elon Musk post where he just he says that he can walk and hip fire a 50 caliber revolver?
Oh yeah.
Sure he can.
I believe
I
I believe he has hip fired a 50 caliber, and after that his doctor was like, never do that again. You have destroyed all of your weird jiggly body. The man looks like a Jello bird. I don't know how else to describe him. He looks like he's made out of lard or Jello, and he also looks like a fucking bird.
And you also know instantly when you read it that the gun he's talking about is that ludicrous like custom job that he bought to look like the fucking gun from Deus Ex.
Yeah.
A game in which the main character says 300 million armed fortified fortresses doesn't sound like the land of the free to me. Like it's this game that he just completely fucking misses the point of. Like he ordered this fucking custom. That's the one that's on the photo and it's on the nightstand in the nightstand photo post.
Oh, with the caffeine-free Diet Cokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Oh god.
Why would you
My nightstand.
Why would you drink caffeine-free Diet Coke? Like, why are you
I
like,
don't know.
I need my water to have cancer-causing agents with no upsides, but just cancer-causing agents?
Like, do you hate pleasure in all of its forms so much that you would like voluntarily drink that?
Yeah. I need the smooth. Like, that's just like, you could just literally just like, you could just carbonate water and it would taste better.
Right?
Like, and it would have the upside of not just ripping through your liver. Like, why the fuck would you do any of that?
Look at this shit. The fucking some guy called the Stetson Pro says that he was actually wearing his hat correctly. Writing for Business Insider.
Oh my god.
Right.
The Stetson Pro weighed in, you guys. He's the last surviving Stetson Pro. He's a survivor of a long line.
He's the keeper of the Stetson Pro.
When the Stetson was invented, their family also enlisted another family to be a permanent servant class for them, forever guarding their secrets and the mythologies of the Stetson. You know, it was handed down from father to son. You know, he has to be a eunuch. You know, there's a lot of stuff about being.
He has to breed and then make himself a eunuch. He has to go in
Look,
that order.
This is an important fucking hat we're talking about, right? Okay, this is an incredibly important hat that just brings all of the America divorced guy, America is an old divorced guy kind of vibes just together. That's why they love Elon Musk so much. That's why they love Donald Trump so much. They're just the country itself is just kind of a miserable 56-year-old divorced man.
Is that what it is? I was wondering.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a good
Where
way to
this energy
describe it.
That's where this energy is coming from, where it has a ludicrous amount of respect for old white men. It has a ludicrous amount of respect for old white women that are still being forced to work. Like,
She did her duty.
Elon Musk
did
does
her
look like a
part.
fucking steam chicken. You're right, Skirt. You're right. You guys, you can't hear him because his audio is muted for everybody but us because we're cool enough. You have to be such a level of cool to hear Skirt Vonnegut, and like he looks simultaneously like something that he doesn't. Yeah, maybe steamed chicken. That would retain a lot more of the fat and the loose skin, right? That's what he looks like. Just a
You're
thing.
going very digitized, Dan.
Am I turning very digitized? How about now?
It's like a
Yeah.
Daft Punk kind of thing going on.
It
Really?
might be Gladys from Portal.
Well. Oh, it's because
That's
Chrome
me
is crashing.
Dan Miku.
Yeah, because Twitter loads as well as you expect it to.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, Twitter is actually crashing my fucking quad core. This is amazing.
That thing is working so good right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, let me tell you, it is working so good.
So smooth and efficient without all those redundancies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? Oh shit! Did you ever see? Okay, I tried to show them to you, but did you ever see that you got like evolved sex bots?
Yeah.
What?
That fucking rules, dude. Like,
Big sigh. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
makes
I mean,
them
that's
involved?
like we always talk about how sad and shitty everything is, right? And how like it sucks compared to like some kind of sci-fi, fascist fantasy or whatever. Like that, it sucks. There's no jets and shit or whatever. But like that to me, like that really brightened my day when like I was going through like posts and like every single post has 10,000 sex bots on it now after Elon Musk got rid of the bots. Every post now has 10,000 sex bots on it. And I was going through posts and I was reading Dan's posts and I got to the end and some motherfucker was like, "Well put, yeah." And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then I was like, "Wait a minute." And I looked at the profile and it was fucking sex robot. And I was like, yo, this fucking rules. And then I seen a couple more of them do it, but they all had like phrases like that were just acquiescing. That were just like, yeah, dead
Ooh,
ass.
nice.
I'm gonna be real sad when the sex box are finally kicked off of Twitter. That's gonna be real. It's gonna be real depressing because they're always good for a couple stray follows here and there.
Well, I want to see what type of like approach that they evolve into next for what other type of poster. Like,
Yeah.
because to even add that functionality to like presumably search out like politics or like philosophy style posters, like to even add that functionality to it, like more work is getting done on the sex bots than is getting done on the stupid fucking site or any of the stupid fucking sites that they've just sat out there to rot for 20 fucking years with basically no infrastructure upgrades since they decided to build a bunch of free infrastructure to sell fucking advertising on, which is now every single one of them is trying to charge a fucking monthly for. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, we got other stuff than Twitter. Everything's going good on the internet, but I'm still kind of mad about how the internet is sometimes.
Well, it's because it sucks. Like, what else do you say? It's shit. You can just hear Jay Sherman screaming "It stinks" over and over again everywhere you go on the internet now.
Yeah,
It's
but I was happy to see the evolving sex bots. Like it'll be cool to see what genre they work into next.
I'm
Well, they'll just end up all having conversations with each other.
yeah.
Like eventually there won't be any actual users left.
You
I
have
suppose
heard
it's
my
true.
theory on Capital. I've told you about the perfect consumption engine. I've told you about the perfect production engine. It's just a black box that sends a yes/no signal back and forth in a loop.
Yeah,
It's just binary. One.
forever.
It's always 0 1, and then it switches to 1 0, and they get the feedback is that it's programmed to think that that's good actually, and they should keep doing that. And that's how capitalism is going to die. It's going to be a little black box floating through space with some kind of material that can withstand cosmic radiation and like almost perfectly frozen temperatures and can withstand like space where it's like being stretched and warped. And it's just on a trajectory that the only programming and propulsion systems it has is literally like background radiation derived and can evade a black hole. And that's going to be capitalism. Everything else is going to be annihilated in its wake, but that is going to be the capitalism box. So the system
Right.
survives forever. And
It's
like
the guy
Jeff
who
Bezos is
finally
going to own it.
Yeah, it's the guy who finally collects all the money. That's the machine he builds to give himself the dollar over and over again.
Right.
After he collects all the money.
hmm
Give himself the same dollar over and over again faster until everything gets sucked into the fucking black hole. I mean, I don't understand how people wouldn't even just at face value agree that that's the end goal of the thing. How many? There's no fucking companies, man. All this shit is the same fucking skeleton of the same money coming from the same fucking people. Like, there's no. This is really fucked up, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like I said, once it's a perfect monopoly, it can no longer be capitalism. And then what is the thing? And how do you do a capitalism in that framework? And you kind of don't.
They will do what you describe. Like, on the very edge of it, if it gets to that point, it will be a guy just endlessly trying to hand himself the same dollar over and over again as fast as possible to generate like a ghost of final activity. Like, before the whole thing finally just falls apart because they starved and killed everybody that was supposed to be on the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's all they'll have left to do. I mean, that's the thing. They're moving towards perfect assimilation and a perfect monopoly. But what the hell program do you have then? Capitalism's over. The game has been won. You can't restart it from there because then you have to take everything away from the winner, which they're anemic to, right? You can't
Yeah.
do that. In the old days, at least, they would be like, well, we got to make sure there's somebody who can win again, so we have to reset the clock. They can't do that
Right.
now. They're beyond that because they hate the idea of it. Because how are you supposed to enjoy your trophy? How are you supposed to enjoy winning if we take it away?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do with that information? What do you do? Once you've won, it's it. The game's over. It's all wiped out. You destroyed yourself. Good for you. Turns out a system built on like competition is not built to be won. Yet, because it is a competition, it is inherently built to be won. Oops. That's an oopsie doodle where I'm from. You fucked up, didn't you?
Whether we're accelerationists or not, everybody I think can agree that it's gratifying. It's gratifying to see your little, hiccups and things. It's gratifying to see NFTs fall apart and stuff. That just heightens people's perception of the contradiction that you just laid out that is inherent in that shit.
Yeah.
It is gratifying to see things happen that heighten people's perception of those contradictions, even if they can't articulate exactly why that they know that it is bad, even if it's a guy at work that, it tells you that Bill Clinton was okay in that one respect or whatever. They still know that all of the other stuff is fucked up on some deep level, I think. Every time the money looks really fake,
Yeah.
every time your coworker is just like reading a fucking article about a lottery winner on their phone with like sweat rolling down their forehead. Like, just
Yeah.
like experiencing either like ecstatic fantasy or jealous fury or both. Just like it's because it hurts because you know that it's fake.
It just burns like a wound. Oh shit! But either way, again, Diane's dead.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
She's still dead. So we'll see her at work on Monday. We're hoping to
And
get
good
that
start
We'll
on
interview
see
next
her
week.
voting on Monday.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that interview next week. They have no reason not to just drag her corpse out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did try to Weekends at Bernie's her ass. I know that's the meme or whatever, but like, you were already doing that, so like, why stop now? Why let a little thing like death stop you? She's still there. Yeah, that's how they did it with Woodrow Wilson. Why wouldn't they do it here?
Yeah.
She'll have like cemetery dirt under her fingernails, and she'll be like, "I was never gone. I've been here all the time."
Yeah, Diane's always been here, haven't you, Diane? And they got the puppet strings on her, and she just nods. And they're like, "Oh well, that's the exact level of things she was doing before." Yeah, might have had a slight audio interruption there. I apologize. My USB ports are going.
Womp womp.
Yeah, womp womp indeed.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be too sad about it, even if you are a liberal. I mean, she's a good start on degrowth, right, Warrenites? Yeah.
Yeah.
One of you fuckers said that to me the other night. Thanks. I kept it because I knew Diane finds out. I didn't know anything. No, I'm not doing that. Never mind.
No, go ahead. Let's see where this one goes. I can't wait to be not the worst person on the podcast for once. No, go ahead. You have the floor.
He said the N word, not me.
Yeah.
Some very rude Elizabeth Warren supporter, presumably.
said degrowth to me the other night, and I
Degrowth.
had forgotten. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
What does she mean by degrowth? Is this like
Sort
a
of
Nick
a-
thing, or is this like
Is
a?
that when I was gonna say? Is that when your D gets bigger?
Yeah.
Ooh. But you know what? I wasn't feeling it then, but I'm feeling it now. Dianne Feinstein could start on degrowth, but
Yeah, I still want to know what degrowth is in this context. Was she like saying kill yourself? Like what was this supporter trying to convey?
A Warrenite?
Yeah,
Probably just a UBI.
it has to be something. Like why would you use the phrase degrowth? That's almost like
A
depopulation. Like
buzzword, they don't. Words don't mean nothing to them. Like the Republicans, words
no,
don't
but it
mean
has to mean
nothing to them.
something. Like even in their
Well,
context, they mean something.
well, I am guessing from context that like what it meant was I want to say something mean.
Green subsidies for coal.
Green subsidies for coal,
Carbon offsets.
carbon offset coal.
Yeah, that's what degrowth means to them, right?
Or are they talking about like the market is in a bad shape or something? So that's usually what Warrenites are worried about is the market, right? That's their big thing.
Did we lose LG?
Yeah.
He's just choppy because he's outside smoking.
Something really fucking.
Oh,
We're
you
being
smoking?
being too rude to good.
Sounding like a robot.
Yeah.
Everything is happening.
Yeah, it's
It's
he's entered the billionaire submarine again.
Yeah.
Hang on.
All right, we're gonna call it for tonight. It's 11:42. We did good. We gave you content. We gave you juicy little content. We talked about it, and we weren't. We didn't go into her life in details, but because like, why do we need to? The thing is this: we don't believe in reliving trauma, right? That's what the liberals would say right now. We don't need to know much about her career. She was a body. She voted for capitalism. She hated the left. She had a disdain for the poor. She had a lot of sympathies with racists, and now she's dead. Her early life was misery. The end of her life was misery. And in the middle, she decided to pay everybody back and make everybody else a little bit more miserable. And, yeah,
And there we are.
there we are. There's your eulogy. I'll go fucking deliver it. $5. Cheap. We're the Sons of Trier crew. We love you all. Don't die. Enjoy the